Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about crit damage versus flat damage. What's the difference? Which one is more effective and why? And by the time we're done with this video, you're going to fully understand everything you know about these two perks and which one is a better fit for you. Alright guys, if you love the content that we're doing here, if you love the videos that we make, please use our creator code. It really helps us to keep on making videos and keep on making content for you guys. So thank you so much for the support. Alright, let's get right into it. So crit damage versus damage. Basically, damage is exactly what it sounds like. Damage is damage. It is consistent, it's reliable, it raises the amount of damage that your gun does to a target. Crit damage is a little bit more complicated. Crit damage is the amount of damage that you do whenever you get a critical hit. And this is modified by your crit rate. Your crit rate determines what your crit chance is. Your crit chance is the likelihood that one of your shots is going to get a critical hit, and the critical damage is the amount of damage that you do when you get a critical hit. So which is better? Crit damage or damage? Depends. Depends on what you're going for. If you want a really consistent gun that has a very predictable damage output and a predictable amount of damage per shot, per bullet exiting your gun, then you want to go with damage. It is consistent, it is reliable. When you shoot something in the head, you know exactly how much damage it's going to do pretty much every time, outside of, you know, the occasional crit. Because you still do have base crit on a weapon, ranging from 10% all the way up to 20%. So depending on the weapon, you're still going to get crits, and those crits will hit, you know, very hard because you've raised the base damage of your gun up. So naturally, even though the crits are not going to have as big of a crit multiplier, you're still going to do more damage. And it's going to be, you know, really spicy damage. So, you know, damage is a really good option. It's very powerful. So when you're the biggest draw, the biggest thing about damage, the biggest appeal is that when you shoot something in the face, you know with quite a bit of confidence how many times you're going to shoot that enemy in the head in order to kill that enemy, which is really nice if you are conserving ammo, or if you're really precise and you're going shot to shot from target to target. You're just like bang 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 bang, and you know exactly, you know, baby, one headshot. You know, Husk, oh, one headshot there too. It's a strong gun. Husky, ooh, I gotta hit him, you know, this many times. You know exactly how many trigger pulls you gotta do, pop 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 pop, to wipe that enemy out and then move to the next target. This gives you some really good efficiency on you know, ammunition. It gives you, you know, it makes it so you don't waste shots, you don't overshoot, you don't shoot through an enemy, because you know exactly how many shots it's gonna take to kill them. You know, which is, it's nice, it's convenient, it's gives you peace of mind, it's satisfying to know for sure, you know, what your gun's going to do at any given second. Now with crit damage is erratic, it's unpredictable, it's RNG, it's a roll of the dice, it's you don't know if you're going to crit or if you're not going to crit. You can estimate the likelihood that you're going to crit, but ultimately you're rolling the dice and hoping for the best. Now, when you're shooting a really slow firing weapon, this can be really problematic. You know, when you're firing an obliterator, which you can only fire, you know, very slowly, bang, 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 you get headshot after headshot. If you get unlucky and you don't get a crit, you're missing a huge majority of the gun's damage, and you can end up wasting having terrible time to kill just because you didn't get lucky and you just shot the same guy in the face over and over again and just couldn't get that headshot, you know, that crit when it mattered. Whereas a really fast firing weapon, like say the Bobcat, which is absolute precision, accuracy, blazing fast attack speed, you can sink like a dozen shots into a head in the blink of an eye, right? So with a weapon like that, that's where you're not really going to notice the crit variance. Crit variance is you know, pretty problematic with slow firing weapons, but you know, not impactful at all with fast firing weapons. So with a slow firing weapon, there's a lot of incentive to maybe use just damage over crit damage because of, you know, just the difference in frustration levels of using it and being frustrated that it's just not performing consistently. Whereas with a Bobcat, you know, with how fast it fires, there's a no-brainer. You're going to take crit damage every time. And now here's the reason. So with crit damage versus damage, the ultimate thing that really comes down to it is if you were to hold the trigger down and aim at a wall for an hour and just let the gun rip, which if you didn't have to like reload or anything, you just had infinite magazine and you just shot at a wall, which one would do more damage? And the question is, without question, crit damage does way more damage on average than the damage gun will do. That's what crit is for. Crit is a critical hit. It is an extremely damaging attack. On average, you know, between your 38% chance to crit all the way up to your 48% chance to crit, depending on if you are running with a 10% base crit or a 20% base crit. You know, you're going to have that range. Anywhere in that range doesn't matter. The crit damage gun is going to completely annihilate the total damage dealt compared to a damage weapon. So when you're looking for superior sustained damage, superior damage per magazine, then yes, crit is 100% the way to go. It is just a way more lethal, way more damaging weapon. And that's where you have to kind of balance your needs as a player and as, you know, as a style of play. Maybe even dependent on the gun that you're using, whether or not you want to go one way or the other way. The bigger the targets that you're fighting, the more important crit rate is to take down those targets, because while killing weak targets is really nice with damage, because you can consistently kill them in just a, you know, even one shot, maybe one, you know, between 1 and 5 shots for virtually any target. It's a very consistent, very fast-paced, you know, fight game. When you're fighting against high-powered level enemies, and you're fighting enemies that can take an entire magazine to kill them, you know, it really is non-negotiable. Crit damage becomes your best friend. It becomes the most important tool that you have in order to take down those really health spongy enemies with a huge just, you have to shoot them and shoot them and shoot them and shoot them, right? All it really matters at that point is how much damage per minute do you do, and crit damage wins every single time. So crit damage is the absolute king of overall sustained damage per magazine. You know, damage is better for consistency and for low level to average level play. But for pro players, for high tier play, crit damage, except no substitute. You want on every single gun that you make forever. Even for me, even the slow firing guns, I don't care. I'll take the crit variants. You know, I'll take the unlucky moments, because, you know, with unlucky comes lucky, right? You can get unlucky, but you can also get lucky, and the average of that is always going to be in your favor with crit. So when you're firing at those really big enemies, you know, you're gonna want those crits. You need that bonus damage. You need to hit hard. You need to destroy them as fast as possible. And it really comes down to just averages, right? Over time, crit damage will average out to doing way more damage. So despite, you know, bad luck streaks and good luck streaks, the only thing that really matters is that overall, the average damage output on crit damage is going to be vastly superior. And that's it. That is the difference between crit damage and flat damage. When I was going through the game as a lower level player, I swore by the damage. Damage was just so much better than crit damage. And honestly, at that level of play, I'd still probably confidently say that that's, you know, a viable strategy, is to go through the game with flat damage, because there's nothing that is going to take so much ammo, so many, you know, magazines that's going to be an issue for you, because you know you're going through the game. Nothing is extremely difficult. It's not until you get to, you know, high twine and you start fighting things that are way out of your level bracket, especially when you start fighting against power level 174 enemies and you're a 130 hero with 130 weapons. You know, that's where you really notice, like, ooh, wow, these guys take some punishment. And I would rather have all of my guns be consistent across the board. To see, there's one other really huge difference between crit damage and damage, and that is the fact that there are only so many heroes in the game that can be used as support units for different builds. Typically there's, you know, only maybe 2, maybe 3 per weapon type, and it really comes like this: flat damage, crit damage, and then some kind of conditional damage. My example would be Rescue Trooper Ramirez, which is 50% assault damage, or as a support character, 17% assault damage. And then you have Tactical Assault Sledgehammer, which is going to be it's going to be 75% critical damage as a support perk. And then Skull Trooper Jonesy, which will be 15% bonus damage for 5 seconds after reloading. So that's your, you know, that's like a good example of your 3 different kinds of things. Every character, every weapon in the game is going to have a flat damage, a crit damage, and some kind of at least one conditional damage perk. And so when you're building your character, you only have 5 support loadout, you know, slots. For me, I would go with like dinos, right? 2 of my slots are committed to dino bonuses, and then 3 of my slots are committed to some kind of damage bonus. And, you know, typically speaking, you're either going to go as a soldier specialist. That's my favorite class, and that's, you know, the class where crit is really going to matter the most. Is I'm either going to go with, you know, the LMG style build with crack shot and bullet storm, and just really go hard into damage ramping, where, you know, that's where ramping, the more you shoot, the more damage you do. That's goes right, you know, feeding into the whole idea of the only thing that matters is the total amount of damage that you do over time. You know, it sacrifices the damage in the short term for getting tons and tons of damage in the long term. And that's the same idea with crit, is you're investing in the total amount of potential damage that you do. And if you use a gun that has flat damage on it and you don't have crit damage or crit rate on that weapon, you just eliminated one of the 2, you know, main support heroes that gun has. You know, you're going to be running with Rescue Trooper Ramirez, but you're not going to use, you know, Tactical Assault Sledgehammer, because you don't have crit. He can't do anything. You can't get crit damage if you don't have crit rate on your gun. So it is very important to build for crit, because that's one of the key elements of building a support team. Otherwise, you're going to run out of relevant support heroes to boost the damage of your weapons. So that is why crit damage is just a vastly superior tool, because it does more damage overall, and it synergizes better with the way that support heroes currently work and the meta that's available. If there was a way to go and have 5 support characters that all buffed flat damage, maybe that would be a different story. But given that you have very limited options for support heroes in what you can buff, because you can only use one of each, crit damage is one of the each that you would use. Alright guys, I really hope that this clears up the damage versus crit damage questions that you may have. Yeah, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel grow. Hit that bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the video, and let me know if I forgot anything. And yeah, thank you so much guys. Thank you for the question. Thank you for being a part of the VASH Corps and supporting what we're doing here, supporting this community and this game. And thank you for watching my videos. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. So thank you so much for caring and supporting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah!
No.